Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Almighty Allah, the entirely merciful and especially merciful. Dear viewers across the globe, across this planet, across our planet Earth, I greet you with the greeting of peace. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I'm reminding you that the name of this program, because of the great season that we are passing through, the season of Ramadan, we called it a path, a road to paradise. So every episode is trying to show us some steps that would help us come closer in our worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to Allah Himself. As we know that in Ramadan we have plenty of advantages and plenty of benefits. One of these benefits I'm going to discuss today is that bringing us closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala via this kind of ibadah. You know that the purpose of each ibadah, the ultimate purpose, is to worship Allah and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. This is the top target, the top benefit for all of us. Then comes beneath it many other benefits that we can benefit from. One of these benefits is that it brings us closer to Allah via this sawm, via this fasting. When we examine the fasting of Ramadan, a whole month, an entire month, we will find that there are many benefits for all human beings across the globe. And it can be a perfect global model for everyone. Because in Ramadan, each Muslim, if we count the number that's mentioned in records nowadays, it's 1.8 billion human beings across the globe. And if we average it to a billion human beings that fast, that can fast, because the rest have excuses or are still too young to fast, that means that approximately every day in the month of Ramadan, for 30 days, we find that Muslims are fasting. That means every day approximately a billion human beings are fasting. Or economically, we would say that a billion human beings save a billion meal every day. Because in Ramadan, Muslims, instead of eating 3 meals, we fast the day that begins from the sunrise to the sunset, or from dawn, more specifically, to the sunset, which is we skip one day a day. For example, we skip the lunch meal. In other words, that instead of a person who fasts Ramadan, instead of eating 3 meals, he or she skips 1 meal, saves 1 meal. That is, this meal, when as Muslims encouraged to share it with the poor people, so we can share, I can share 1 meal with others. I take 2 meals for me, the sahur and the breakfast, and the third meal I would share it with the needy. Somewhere else in the world I share this meal with the people who are in need of it. This is a normal practice for Muslims since the time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if not even before that, because according to the ayah of the Quran, that is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala prescribed upon us fasting as He prescribed it on the nations before us, which tells us that it is in the DNA of every human being, which tells us that why should not we motivate and encourage the rest of human beings to imitate the Muslims or the Islamic model in this? That means that this is the time to save one meal a day, and we can share it with other human beings. And in this way, we can save millions, if not billions, of human beings from starvation, eventually from death. This model has been practiced by every Muslim on a daily basis. Also, it has been practiced the year before, and the year before, and the year before in the life of every Muslim, because fasting is an obligation on every Muslim. In other words, he or she cannot be a good Muslim without fasting this month, without benefiting the other human beings. This is really a great model, and I encourage people to do as Muslims do, to take this model of saving one meal a day. I'm quite sure that they will be healthier than before. I'm quite sure that it gives them a time, more time for their bodies to wrap up, to catch up, to recharge, to be recharged, so that they can become more productive later on. They will not die. As the Muslims survive on 2 meals, all human beings can do the same thing. We are humans and they are humans and all of us are humans. And the best thing is that to help others solve this problem, that you can say that the great economists of this world cannot or could not solve until now, the Muslims offer a practical solution for everyone. Every day, the Muslims can save a billion meals a day for 30 days. And I'm quite sure the rest of the humans can cover the rest of the months and the rest of the days. By this way, by this practical way, we can help all the humans that are in need of food. And there are, statistically, you would find that at least 1/4 or 1/5 of humanity are in need of food and drinks. And Muslims can be the first step, can begin the first step, and can offer these types of meals to the poor everywhere in the world. I share it with the people who are around me in my area, and Muslims are scattered everywhere, so they can share it with others. This would require less logistics than if we can carry the meals to other places, but it is doable. We can do that. We can do it. We require the countries that have a lot of advanced logistics, they can help us in achieving this goal. And I'm quite sure they are really in need of putting our hands together and cooperate together to offer this extra meal that we saved it by default. We are not making a great attitude to people, a great benefit to people directly, but in fact indirectly. We do it by default because we are supposed to save one meal a day, because we take only 2 meals a day. In fact, as you know, that some of the companions used to compete in this area and to eat as less food as you can. And here is a benefit, and here is an indication, and here is an indirect instructions to all the Muslims. Unfortunately, still some Muslims who inherited something that's not from Islam. Something is that to heap up a lot of money. Even some people prepare for Ramadan by saving some money before the month of Ramadan so that they can eat as more food and as more meals as they can. This is un-Islamic. This is not the tradition of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Neither it was the tradition of the companions of the Prophet of the first generation. Those companions gave us the example of how to benefit from this meal. And on this particular month, we need to feed as many people as we can. We are motivated, we are encouraged. We are all the time reminded by the hadith and the ayat of the Quran that it is one of the ways that we can get a lot of rewards during this month is by sharing the food with others, particularly the needy and the poor people. So this is the model, and I think this would be the most positive contribution across the globe. It's a global contribution, and I'm quite sure if there are some organizations that are ready to take responsibility just to organize this issue, and they would encourage the people in different countries so that they would take care of the people, the poor people, within their own countries. They don't need to take it to far places. If they can, that would be better, because there is hierarchy among the poor. There are more people who need the food in one area other than the other areas. So we give them the priority so that we can save the most needy people than the normal needy people. We can do this. So in any country, whether you are rich or poor, the Muslims have to fast the month of Ramadan. And both of them, the rich and the poor, they can save one meal a day, and they can share it with others. And among the population of the earth, you find wonderful experiences. You would find people getting out their own food outside their houses so that the passers-by or whoever is in need of it can come and take a meal with them, share their meals. It's a wonderful situation that really shows love and respect and mutual relationship, positive relationship with the other people who don't have the means to take this meal. The rich can help the poor. And this is one of the goals of Ramadan, is that you experience, you have empathy, and you have sympathy with those who are in need of the food and in need of the drinks. It's a practical thing. You cannot imagine that people are poor and they are suffering. Yes, you can. But it's different than when you go through the experience and have the same feeling as the poor people, as the hungry people have it when they lack the availability of food to them. So this is a model that had been very clear at the time of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and had been exercised and practiced by the generation that came after him, one generation after another, until it reached nowadays. And I'm quite sure the people in the global organizations are willing to take projects like this. And here we offer this project to them. We offer this project because we do it and we see the impact of it on the other people. And we see that this can save the world from a lot of crimes. Because the first motive for crimes in the world is hunger. And if we succeed to satisfy the hunger of those people, that means that less crime will take place and more peace will happen and will occur everywhere in the world. And this is one way of achieving a peaceful society, a peaceful community, a peaceful world where we need everybody to enjoy this kind of peace. So this peace is not just achieved by saying Assalamu alaikum, but practically we are implementing it by doing our ibadat. This is, from one hand, it is an ibadah. It is a worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a command on every Muslim and Muslimah to fast the month of Ramadan. And at the same time, we can take this extra meal that we save, we can share it with others. So very quickly, you will find peace is spreading everywhere. And by the way, if we can do it, if Muslims can do it for a whole month, that means we can extend this. And we are encouraged by Islam to extend this mode of Sawm, this spirit of fasting, and then we can extend it extra days or even extra weeks or extra days throughout the whole year. And that's exactly what the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam used to do and practice, and used to encourage his friends and his companions to do that. We Muslims are practicing this, and we at the same time are so proud of doing this, alhamdulillah. We are doing it as part of a duty on us in this religion. To be a Muslim, you have to fulfill it. And at the same time, we share our food. We are very positive. We share it with the people who are in need of it. I'm quite sure that would be more peace in the world, and less war, and less fights, and less problems, and less poverty happening everywhere in the world. This is because we follow the Islamic model that had been originated to the people in the last 1400 years ago by our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for guiding us. We thank Allah for showing us the footsteps, the practical practices of doing this and changing it from theoretical statements and sayings into practical things that would help everyone else. And at the same time, we are setting an example, very clear example to the entire world that it is doable. It is doable in Japan, it's doable in Jakarta, it is doable in America, it's doable in Europe, it's doable in Africa, it's doable everywhere. And we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. ممدوح نور الدين محمد.